Yo, good evening, USA, International, Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, the tri state areas of New Jersey, Connecticut, plus the five spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your man and homie, G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, rhymes with now or later. Your host with the most, misunderstood, lonely nomad, unstoppable independent podcaster, creator, YouTuber, and of course, Queens, New York native, who is also a New York Mets fan and New York Giants fan from the neck of the woods of Laurelton, Queens, New York. And you are now rocking with me by tuning in, listening, streaming, and watching the 109th episode of the Sports Edition show, Excellent, Fun, Vibrant Talks podcast. The, the, the space to talk about anything in football news, including the New York Giants, of course, New York news, and everything in between. And I hope everyone had their delightful Thanksgiving. I know mine was a little simple, and I know there's a lot of you out there that's actually thankful for something. I myself am thankful for you folks at home who tuned in for the past 4 years of this podcast and my other podcast, which has also reached its 4 year anniversary. So it means a lot to me, and I appreciate it from every single one of you tuning in from international spots, Caribbeans, um, every Rose, Long Island, you just name it, man. And and speaking of which, man, we are live and direct from StreamYard alongside with YouTube. And in case you want to get in on the action in regards to StreamYard, all you need to do is get yourself an account, set your email or podcast email address, and it includes features that includes Facebook, Twitter. No, excuse me, X to be exact. Excuse me, X, and there's also Instagram that's also featured on there, and of course YouTube is on there, and along with different features, so that way you won't miss out on a 10, so you don't miss out on any discounts. All right. All right, so now that I got that out the way, I would like to basically turn to, speaking of YouTube, I want to turn into um the fact that you can hit that subscribe button on the sports YouTube channel page so you don't miss out on any new episodes that's going to be uploaded into the YouTube channel page. And of course, leave a like and a comment alongside with the sports topics. Um, so 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 that way you can express yourself. Tell me how you feel about the topics in each episode that is recorded and dropped. All right. And also be sure to also leave a review with 5 stars alongside with your feedback on the sports topics in each episode. And of course, it helps the show grow alongside with myself, a content creator, YouTuber, and podcast host, so that you won't miss out on anything. All right. So if you have Apple Podcasts, you can also download it to your iPhones, Android phones, alongside with your iPads and your Android tablets, and of course laptops are included, which is Apple Mac and of course Dell laptop models. All right, so in case you are new to this channel and this is your first time watching the Sports Edition show of Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast, welcome to the show. Um, I cover the basics, which includes the different types of topics that's in sports, sports news. I do news that came out on different that comes out on different websites and stuff. So that's where I get my topics from. All right. So without further ado, let's get into the quick side bleacher bar. All right. Let's do this. Yes, I have a lineup of topics to talk about, including the recent trade that happened with Brandon Nimmo. I have some thoughts to talk about that, and alongside with others. So just stay tuned and yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that, folks. I had to, you know, had to had a little chat in regards to a leftover cake, which I will go down after I finish this episode recording. So just bear with me here. And let's get to our first topic in football news. I know you probably heard about this already, but I've been saving this for quite some time in regards to Tommy DeVito. All right. Now, here's what's happening here. So, all right. So, after two memorable years, the Giants are reportedly serving ties with a favorite of their fans. The New York is cutting quarterback Tommy DeVito, according to a Tuesday morning report from ESPN's Adam Schefter. DeVito, age 27, has spent 2 years with the Giants after a 5-year college career with Syracuse and Illinois. Immediately, immediately beloved by New York fans for his Italian and New Jersey heritage. DeVito started 6 games as a rookie, throwing 8 touchdowns against 3 interceptions and leading the Giants to a respectable 3-3 record. In 2024, he started 2 games and threw neither a touchdown nor an interception. DeVito's release paves the way for New York to carry 3 quarterbacks entering this season, and that includes Jackson Dart, which I'll talk about his status as a I'll talk about his status in regards to his concussion in a few. So stick around for that. Yes, rookie Jackson Dart, 10-time Pro Bowler Russell Wilson, and one-time Pro Bowler Jameis Winston, which I will talk about what impressed me about him while he fills in for Jackson Dart. The Giants are scheduled to open their season. Well, actually, they already started. So they started this season on September 7th against the Commanders. Of course, New York went 3-14 in 2024, setting a franchise record for losses. Okay, in other New York Giants news, um, In other New York Giants news, let me see. Let me see. In other New York Giants news, I want to actually talk about I want to talk about something I wanted to talk about actually. Um yes, Jackson Dart. Okay. Let's talk about Jackson Dart. Hold on. All right, Jackson Dart. Here we go. According to the Sporting News, Jackson Dart has been a revelation for the New York Giants and ahead of a Week 13 Monday Night Football contest against the New England Patriots, which I'll go over the preview in a sec. Big Blue will have its rookie signal caller back. Dart suffered a concussion in the second half of the Giants' loss in Week 10 versus the Chicago Bears, forcing him to miss games against the Green Bay Packers and Detroit Lions. Dart has shown after taking over the starting role from veteran Russell Wilson in Week 4. Over his 7 starts for the 250 Giants, he has totaled 1,417 passing yards, 10 passing touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, completing 62.7% of his passes. Dart has also been a major factor in the running game, accumulating 7 rushing touchdowns, including a streak of 5 straight games with a rushing score of 317 rushing yards for the season. Despite a recent absence due to a concussion, the team has confirmed he is cleared. He is cleared and set to return as the starter for their upcoming game, though there have been reports that the team has stressed the need for him to modify his running style to take less contact. And of course, here's more on Dart's expected return. Dart will return on Monday Night Football against the New England Patriots, which I will discuss where it's going to be aired in a few minutes. Dart missed 2 contests, the Week 11 loss to the Packers and the Week 12 loss against the Lions, while in concussion protocol, but he will return for the primetime contest. Backup quarterback Jameis Winston started against the Packers and Lions, throwing for 567 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. What happened to Jackson Dart, you ask? The Giants quarterback suffered a concussion in the second half of the Week 10 loss to the Bears. He exited in the third quarter and missed the rest of the game. Former Giants head coach Brian DeBall said he pulled Dart after the quarterback seemed groggy on his next few days following the fumble. Dart's concussion on against Chicago was the 4th time that he was evaluated for a concussion this year in 9 total games plus the preseason. The rookie quarterback has been running a lot in his first season and has taken a large number of hits as he's been getting acclimated to the league. Dart overtook the starting quarterback job from Russell Wilson in Week 4, but Wilson had still been New York's backup until Brian Duvall was fired, which I'll discuss that in a sec. When Dart left the game against the Bears, Wilson relieved him and finished the game in Chicago. Shortly after the ball's firing, the Giants demoted Wilson in favor of Winston, putting the former number one pick, in line to start if Dart can't go. Winston played in 2 games this year, the losses to the Packers in week 11 and Lions in week 12. And of course, wait a minute here. I will. The Giants have to face a gauntlet of playoff teams before going on their bye in week 14, starting with the two NFC North teams in the Packers and Lions before facing the Patriots. Well, it's too late now. Let's see. Brian the ball. Yeah, I'll talk about that in a sec. Um, let me see. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about the firing of Brian DeBall. Let's get into it here. Okay, so according to the New York Post, here's what's happening here. Brian DeBall's best hope sticking around as Giants coach was rookie quarterback Jackson Dart. Dart leaving Sunday's game with a concussion was the start of their latest collapse. The final straw that got the 50-year-old coach fired Monday in the middle of his fourth season at the helm. After Russell Wilson took over, the Giants were able to get down to the Bears' 1 yard line, but couldn't punch it in, and the ball settled for a field goal to go up 20-10 with 10 minutes and 19 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Jeez. No wonder a lot of content creators and everybody else who are New York Giants fans were upset about this. And I can't say I blame them. Okay, let me give credit where it's due to the creators of The Simpsons and some the producers, Groening, along with the cast, along with the directors and everyone else. This is where I'm actually giving y'all the credit that you deserve. So there you go. Anyway, so let's go to wait, wait. All right, so after Russell Wilson took over, the Giants were able to get down to the Bears' 1 yard line, but couldn't punch it in. And um, Dable settled for a field goal to go up to 20-10 with 10 minutes and 19 seconds left in the fourth quarter. The Giants were able to force the Bears into a turnover on downs on the Chicago 43-yard line with 8 minutes and 41 seconds left. But with Dart gone, the Wilson led offense had two penalties and ran the ball 3 times before punting. Chicago then went on a 9-play, 91-yard touchdown drive, jump started by a 20-yard Caleb Williams pass to tight end Colston Loveland. Oh shit. That's a weird name. Anyway, on a 3rd and 10 at the Bears 26-yard line. All right. And Okay, so the Giants defense continued to falter from there, giving up an 18-yard first down completion to wide receiver Rome O'Duns and a 20 Williams scramble that got the Bears down to the 2 yard line. Williams hit O'Duns again for a touchdown to make it 20-17. A quick 3-and-out that saw Wilson get sacked twice ended with a shanked punt by Jamie Gillen, whose 26-yard kick went to the Bears' 47-yard line with 2 minutes and 53 seconds remaining. 4 plays and 1 minute and 6 seconds later, Williams ran 18 yards for the game-winning touchdown, sealing Dable's fate. Wow. Wow. The Giants mustered 11 yards on 6 plays during their final drive in the 24-20 loss. Sunday marked the fourth time this season the Giants have blown a double-digit lead, all coming in road losses. The other instances came in week 2 against the Cowboys, week 5 against the Saints, and week 7 against the Broncos. Okay, they hired a new person to take place of the to take place of let me see. Let me see. Hang on 1 second here. Let's see. New York Giants hired new coach. Okay. Let me see. Who was it? Mike Kafka? That's his name? Wait. Wait. Yeah, Mike Kafka. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah, so the New York Giants announced recently that head coach, hang on 1 second here. Yeah, head coach Brian DeBall has been relieved of his duties. Assistant head coach offensive coordinator Mike Kafka will serve as interim head coach. In quote, we spoke this morning about the direction of our franchise on the field, and we have decided that at this time it is in our best interest to make a change at the head coaching position. President John Mara and Chair Steve Tisch said in a joint statement. End quote. The past few seasons have been nothing short of disappointing, and we have not met our expectations for this franchise. We understand the frustrations of our fans, and we will work to deliver a significantly improved product. We appreciate Coach DeBall for his contributions to our organization. We wish the DeBall family all the best in the future. Joe Schoen remains in his position as general manager and will lead the search for a new head coach. We feel like Joe has assembled a good young nucleus of talent, and we look forward to its development, said Mara. Unfortunately, the results over the past 3 years have not been what any of us want. We take full responsibility for those results and look forward to the kind. These are difficult decisions, and John and I do not take them lightly, said Tish. But we feel like this is the right thing to do at this time and will allow us to move forward. The ball was named the ball was named the 2022 NFL Head Coach of the Year, leading the Giants to 9 regular season victories, clinching the team's first playoff berth in 6 years and its first postseason victory in 11 seasons. In 4 seasons, Giants compiled a record of 20-40-1 under the ball. Mike Kafka joined the New York Giants as offensive coordinator in 2022, title of assistant head coach in 2024. Before arriving in New York, Kafka spent 5 seasons with the Kansas City Chiefs, serving as offensive quality control coach. 2017 quarterbacks coach 2018 to 2019 and passing game coordinator quarterbacks coach 2020 to 2021. During his tenure in Kansas City, he was part of the coaching staff um, that won Super Bowl 58 or 59. Um, at Northwestern, Kafka set multiple school records, including single game marks for both passing yards and rushing yards by a quarterback, a native of Chicago and a graduate of St. Rita High School. Kafka earned his degree in communication studies from Northwestern. Mike and his wife, um, Ali, Ali, have 3 children, Ashton, Jackson, and Camden. Okay, so the impressions that I got from Jameis Winston. Okay, we're gonna get into that right here. We'll get into it right here. The impression that I got from Jameis Winston. Yes, so there you go. We'll talk about that right here. All right, so the New York Giants have chosen door number 3 this week. Jackson Dart is injured with a concussion, so the Giants needed a different quarterback, a different starting quarterback to be exact, to take on the Green Bay Packers on Sunday in Week 11. They chose Jameis Winston over Russell Wilson. Wilson made 3 starts earlier this season, but this time Winston gets the call. Why is Jameis Winston playing quarterback over Russell Wilson? There are likely a couple of reasons the Giants are going with Winston over Wilson. One is that Russ simply doesn't, excuse me, one is that Russ simply hasn't been that good in his action this season. He made 3 starts to begin the season, and 2 were quite bad. And in relief of Dart this past week, he struggled. There's also likely an element of wanting to see what Winston still has in the tank. The Giants may view him as a more realistic long-term backup for Dart. And then there's the matter of the rest of the offense. This is a 2-8 team, not going anywhere. Actually, they're 2-10 at the moment. Um, 2-10 or 2-11. I'm not too sure, but anyway. But interim head coach Mike Kafka will want to put a good product on the field that allows everyone to show the best versions of themselves. If Winston is most capable of allowing his offensive teammates to succeed, then it'd be logical for the Giants to give him a shot here. There's a chance for Jameis to prove that he belongs in New York again next season, or maybe even deserves a chance from someone to their starter next season. He'll certainly be out there slinging it. Okay, so my impression of Jameis Winston is the fact that he's able to make great plays, despite the mistakes that's been made. Hold on a second. Yeah, as I was saying, despite the mistakes the New York Giants made as far as interceptions and fouls and whatnot, it doesn't stop Jameis from being one of the best rookie players of this team. Now, I do want to remind everyone in regards to in regards to the Monday night football game that's happening on what is it, ESPN. No, hold on. My Nine is airing that game on My Nine tomorrow night at 8 p.m. on My Nine. It's not ESPN though. I did see that it's going to be airing on My Nine instead of ESPN. So there you go right there. There you go right there. I'd like to let me see what else do I have to talk about here, man. Let's see. Let's see. Let me see. Oh, why is Tom Brady? Okay. Okay, we could talk about that too. I forgot about that. I forgot about that. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, this is very this one is very disturbing, man. And this is from the folks from People. So here's what's going on here. Tom Brady Jr. is a clone of his late dog Lua, after Lua, whom the retired quarterback shared with ex-wife Giselle Bundchen and their children, died in December 2023. He welcomed another similar-looking dog, Junie. Crazy. Okay. Yeah, nearly 2 years later, Brady has revealed that Junie is a clone of the late Pitbull mix. Brady shared the news on Tuesday, November 4th, um, co- coinciding with an announcement from Colossal Biosciences, a biotech company that he is an investor in and that worked with him to clone his beloved Lua. On November 4th, the Dallas based company, best known for its claim that it produced three dire wolf pups, announced that it has acquired another biotech company via. Oh boy. This is very disturbing. This is so fucking disturbing right there, man. I hate to say this, but it is pretty disturbing and fucking weird. That is not only weird, but it's pretty disgusting, man. Gosh, man, this is like, oh man. Okay, Viagen is known for cloning Barbara Streisand's dog Samantha, who died in 2017, and Paris Hilton's dog, oh man, dog Diamond Baby, into two puppies after the pet went missing in 2022. The biotech company has exclusive licensing and access to the breakthrough technologies that were developed by a Rosalind Institute of Edinburgh, which is widely known for cloning Dolly and sheep in the late 90s. Viagen said in a press release obtained by People. Brady's late pet Lua was cloned using blood collected prior to her death in 2023, the colossal investor said in a statement obtained by People. Oh my gosh. That's some scary ass shit though. That's some scary ass shit that I would never do though. Unfortunately, this is not something I would do. And I'm not gonna pose this question to anybody. Um I'm not gonna pose this question to anybody on the community tab. It's probably gonna be something else though, man. Anyway, oh man. Yeah, it's gonna be something else. So, in quote, I love my animals. They mean the world to me and my family, the former NFL star said. A few years ago, I worked with Colossal and leveraged their non-invasive cloning technology through a simple blood draw of our family's elderly dog before she passed. The company gave my family a second chance with a clone of our beloved dog, Brady confirmed, adding that he is excited how Colossal and Viagen's tech together can help both families losing their beloved pets while helping to save endangered species. While Viagen has made headlines for cloning pets for celebrities like Streisand, Hilton, and now Brady, Colossal is best known for its de-extinction efforts, like its Dire Wolf Project, which debuted in April. Yeah, in April. Yeah, in September, the Texas-based company also announced a scientific breakthrough in its effort to bring the extinct dodo bird back to life. Okay. Butchin and Brady, who divorced in 2022, adopted the pit bull mix during their marriage, and she was a prominent member of the family over the years. Brady regularly posted about the pup on social media, and she even starred alongside him in his 2014 UGG Australia commercial. The supermodel, age 45, first announced Lewis' death in an Instagram post on December 23rd, 2023. She shared several photos of the beloved pet, including several with the ex's children. Benjamin Rain, age 15, and Vivian Lake, age 12. Our little Lulu, our guardian angel, is gone to heaven. The supermodel wrote alongside the pictures. She will forever live in our hearts. We already miss her so much. Hashtag unconditional love. RIP Lua. Brady also posted a tribute to Lua, sharing a photo of the dog with his kids on Instagram stories and writing, in quote, "We love you, Lua. RIP." In another tribute, he added that the late pup is forever in our hearts. Okay. Let's see. Let me see what else to talk about here. I want to actually make sure that I don't miss out. Let me make sure I don't miss out on something. Let's see. Let me see. Let me see. Um, All right. Next we have I want to actually wait a minute. I want to actually okay, let me see. So let's talk about okay, so let's see. So who else? Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. All right, so let's get into one of David Stern's press conferences and stuff. With all the craziness about the collapse of this year's New York Mets. Let's see. Let me see. So, and this is from the folks from AOL. Let's get into what he's saying. So, okay. So the 2025 Major League Baseball season is officially over for all 30 teams. And as the Fall Classic is over, it is time for the clubs to reflect on what they did and plan their comeback for the upcoming season to compete with the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers had the highest payroll in the league, and they justified every penny their roster deserved by winning their second straight World Series. But what about the team that has the second highest payroll and did not even qualify for the postseason? Of course, we are talking about the New York Mets. The Mets created sky high expectations with their $342 million payroll when they brought in Juan Soto last winter. With the highest ever contract baseball has ever seen, they almost snatched Soto from the crosstown rival, the New York Yankees. And in the middle of the season, things looked great for them when they had their best record in baseball at 45-24, and their rotation was in rhythm. But then came one of the greatest collapses of recent times when the team went 38-55, the rest of the way, and missed the playoffs by one game. So what happens now, you ask? For president of baseball operations, David Stearns, the answer is a major offseason overhaul. And MLB insider Steve Adams recently reported on this very situation, highlighting two homegrown stars facing a moment of truth. Let's start with the 25-year-old Mark Vientos, who had a slash line of 233, 289, 413 after a great 2024 season, where he had a batting line of 266, 322, 516 with 132 WRC plus and 10 more homers, even with nine fewer appearances. And the other one is the 23-year-old Luis Angel Acuna. The Braves star Ronald Acuna Jr.'s younger brother had a batting line of 234, 293, 274 in 193 plate appearances. But the real concern, according to MLBTR's Adams report, is both Vientos and Acuna are out of minor league options, meaning they need to break camp with the club next year or else be designated for assignment. It means they must make the 2026 opening day team. And if they do not, the Mets must designate them for assignment. And this would place them on waivers where another team can claim them. And the Mets will lose them for nothing. Plus, Steve reported either Vientos or Acuna could still hold down a bench spot. Acuna's speed and defensive versatility might make him a valuable utility option, but both are questionable fits who were once lauded prospects and now seem likely to draw interest from younger clubs with more clear-cut opportunity available. Um, let's see. So the question remains: who can replace their production when needed? You ask. The first one is Brett Beatty. Beatty had a breakout season, slashing 291, 353, 477, and 190 second half plate appearances, and 254, 313, 435 overall. Plus, he posted 3.1 B WAR and played more elite defense at third base than anyone in recent years for the Queens. And the other one is Ronnie Mauricio. He previously struggled, and before tearing his ACL in December 2023, he was competing for the third base position, a spot Vientos eventually won. But now Mauricio has a key advantage as he still has minor league options. I don't, yeah. So the Mets can safely send him to AAA for more seasoning. This leaves Vientos and Acuna as the clear option Stearns can decide to let go. But that is just the beginning. The franchise icon Pete Alonso officially opted out of his 2-year deal and wants to test free agency once again. Alonso led the National League with 41 doubles and drove in 126 runs. And of course, reports suggest Alonso is seeking a long-term deal of at least 7 years. Stearns' history with the first baseman suggests he is hesitant to pay that kind of price. So if Alonso walks, if it creates a massive power vacuum at first base. Um, though possible free agent replacements like Josh Naylor, who just re-signed with the Seattle Mariners again. Luis Arias and Ryan O'Hearn are possible, not really. But no one can replace the production of Polar Bear. The departures do not stop with Alonso. As closer, Edwin Diaz is also widely expected to decline his player option. This would leave another hole in the ninth inning. Outfielder Cedric Mullins, who struggled after arriving from Baltimore, is an unrestricted free agent, and veteran Starling Marte will also hit free agency. I just saw online that Cedric Mullins is with the Nationals now. This so the Mets desperately need a new closer and an everyday outfielder to start 2026. The 2025 collapse was a harsh lesson, and David Stearns is not hiding from the blame. He took full ownership in his end of season press conference. I'm an architect of the team and I'm responsible for it, Stearns stated. I've been here for 2 years. That's plenty of time to shape a roster, to meld a roster. Um, but what comes next will remain to be seen. And of course, also Steve Cohen also chimed in regards to the collapse. So, Steve Cohen is feeling Mets fans' pain after they stunningly missed the playoffs, and the owner apologized to the fan base as they come to grips with the bitter end. Mets fans everywhere, I owe you an apology, Cohen wrote Monday on X. You did your part by showing up and supporting the team. We didn't do our part. We will do a post-mortem and figure out the obvious and less obvious reasons why the team didn't perform up to your and my expectations. We are all feeling raw emotions today. I know how much time and effort you have put into this team. The results were unacceptable. Your emotions tell me how much you care and continues to motivate the organization to do better. Thank you to the best fans in sports. Despite an approximately $340 million payroll and owing the best record in the sport, 45-24 in mid-June, the Mets played like one of MLB's worst teams over the final 3+ months. Jeez. Jeez, I know what that's. I know how that feels. Let's see. Let me see. Come on. All right. So the Mets entered Game 162 with against the Marlins on Sunday, needing a win and a Reds loss to get into the postseason. While the Reds lost to the Brewers, the listless Mets fell 4-0 in Miami. All right. Brandon Nimmo. That's the breaking news right now, actually. So Brandon Nimmo. Let me just let's just look for this actually. Yeah, it's pretty wild actually for me to hear in regards to Brendan Nimmo and the trade with Marcus Semien. Got gotta talk about this though, man. Okay. So this is from Sports Illustrated. It's from Sports Illustrated. So, the Mets and Rangers pulled off the first blockbuster trade of the MLB offseason on Sunday as the two sides are swapping expensive big name players to fill needs. ESPN MLB insider Jeff Passan reports New York and Texas are finalizing a deal that would send infielder Marcus Semien to Queens in exchange for outfielder Brandon Nimmo. It's a deal that seemingly came out of nowhere as neither player was considered a prime trade candidate this winter. The additions will mark big changes to each team's lineup. Um, Here's a look at what each team is getting and who came out on the better end of the deal. Mets acquired Marcus Semien. The Mets got older with this deal, but filled a pretty massive hole in the infield. Jeff McNeil has underperformed since signing a 4-year, $50 million deal before the 2023 season. He isn't unusable at second base, but Semien could represent a marked improvement at the position. Semien is coming off back-to-back disappointing seasons at the plate, but he has more upside than McNeil and is a far better defender. And yes, the 35-year-old won his second Gold Glove in 2025. Okay. The issue is the issue here is Simeon's bat, which has gone quiet since he won a Silver Slugger while leading the Rangers to a World Series title in 2023. During that season, he slashed 276, 348, and 478 with 29 home runs, 100 RBIs, a WRC plus of 128, 6.5 F WAR. In the 2 seasons since, he has failed to top a 700 OPS. In 2025, Semien slashed 230, 305, 364 with 15 home runs, 62 RBIs, and a full season career low WRC plus of 89 in 127 games. He produced 2.1 F WAR, but most of that came from his exceptional defense at second base, where he had 7 outs above average. Semien just turned 35 and still has 3 seasons remaining on the 7-year, $175 million deal he signed with the Rangers in 2020 in December of 2021. He's under contract through 2028. Damn. And will make $26 million each year in each of the next 2 seasons, before making $20 million in the final year. $20 million. All right. Let's keep going here. Hang on 1 second here. So Rangers acquired Brendan Nimmo. Texas had an aging roster with a lot of money committed to a few players. Semien, Corey Seager, Jacob deGrom, and Nathan Eovaldi were all set to make more than $25 million in 2026. The team is looking to cut payroll while this deal takes on more long-term money. It cuts the yearly bill down while adding a power bat to the outfield something sorely needed. Nimmo has played his entire career for the Mets, and his best full season came in 2022 when he slashed 274, 364, 433 with 15 home runs, 64 RBIs, 102 runs scored, and a 132 WRC plus. That 5.5 F WAR season earned him an 8-year, $162 million deal from New York. The former first round pick has been a solid contributor, but hasn't quite hit that high since. In 2025, he slashed 262, 324, 436 with career highs in home runs 25 and RBIs 92 and a 114 WRC plus thanks to average to below average defense in left field. His F WAR was only 3.0. He's a corner outfielder only at this point, and his value will largely come from his bat moving forward. Nimmo is owed on $102.5 million over the next 5 seasons, but at $20.5 million per year, the Rangers will actually save money over the next 3 years. After the Rangers non-tendered Adolis Garcia on Friday, they had an opening in the outfield alongside Wyatt Langford and Evan Carter. Texas needed to save money and find a solid outfield bat to fill that role. Um, Perhaps a knock on effect of this deal is that moving Simeon opens a spot on the infield prospect. Shortstop Sebastian Walcott is almost big league ready. This could be the move that gets him to the majors. Okay. More Brennan Nimmo news. I'm pretty sure y'all probably saw his interview. I did actually. So here's what's happening here. So after spending the first 10 years of his MLB career with the New York Mets, Brennan Nimmo is now a Texas Ranger. That was only possible because he waived his full no trade clause, allowing the Mets to send him to the Rangers in exchange for Marcus Semien. On Tuesday, Nimmo joined MLB Network to explain his experience during the process and why he ultimately decided to okay the trade. Nimmo was willing to sacrifice Mets' legacy after already spending a decade with New York and signing an extension through 2030. Nimmo was expecting to be with the Mets for several more years. He hoped to retire with them, thus spending his entire career with one organization. New York had other ideas, however, and was willing to part ways with him to acquire Simeon and improve its infield defense. All it had to do was convince Nimmo to waive his no trade clause, which was the only thing holding up the deal. Okay, so in quote, this was something that I was forfeiting a legacy with the New York Mets, and we would have to really believe that the Rangers wanted to win year in and year out. Brendan Nimmo speaks on the decision to waive his no trade clause for a move to the Rangers. The Mets were very honest with the 32-year-old outfielder, informing him that he might need to DH more or potentially sacrifice some playing time to make room for prospects. They also explained their reasoning for the trade to him, emphasizing that they wanted to get better defensively. Nimmo's a good hitter, but his fielding is nothing special. Simeon, on the other hand, is a two-time Gold Glove winner and one of the best defensive second basemen in the sport. While New York wanted to go in a different direction, Texas made it clear to Nimmo how badly the organization wanted him and valued him. The Rangers from the other side were saying, "We love you. We want you. The player that you are, the person that you are. We need that and we want that. And you are going to be welcomed with open arms here. There's a reason that we made you who we wanted to come after in this trade." Nimmo said. Nimmo added that once he saw how strongly Texas wanted him to join its club, that made it easier to move on from the Mets and improve the trade. The Rangers had been looking for a lefty power bat and a veteran leader this offseason. So it's not surprising they came hard after Nimmo. He seemed like a great fit on their end. And even though they gave up a good player to get him, it won't be surprising if they end up winning this deal. Yeah, a couple of things that I want to say about this actually. And I was actually saying this to Dom from Dominant Mets Nation, how crazy and terrible it is to go after a 35-year-old Marcus Semien. And the thing is he does have a history. He does have a history of injuries like Byron Buxton. It's like it's one thing to actually go in a different direction, but at the same time, like you gotta really think about what happens if Marcus Semien ends up getting hurt. And I also want to address this too. I want to address this too, actually, though, man. And I've been hearing a lot of chatter about how some Mets fans wants to trade um Jet Williams and the other prospect players for a Tarik Skubal, which I will talk about next, actually. Which I will talk about next, actually. It's just beyond crazy to me, man. I get that it's a results business, but at the same token, you really have to think about having a backup second baseman, because what would happen if Marcus Semien ends up getting hurt? Because if he gets hurt and you trade away Jet Williams, your crazy ass is going to be your crazy ass is going to be fucking cooked. Your crazy ass is going to be fooled not once, but twice, and you'll be in a fucking frying pan eating nothing but chicken soup with fucking rice. All right, like, this is just typical, man. This is just so typical, and I think they do that because they're desperate to get a second baseman, and on top of that, they try to get a left fielder and some shit. So you know, it is pretty good to see Brennan Nimmo played with the New York Mets, and of course, he came in as a clutch hitter. Sure, he didn't have the best throwing arm or whatever, that wasn't really strong enough or whatever, but he was a clutch hitter that came through in situations where the Mets were basically in a jam. All right. So and I like to say to the to on behalf of the New York Mets fan base, I would like to say thank you to Brandon Nimmo for his service and everything else in between, and and of course, and I really hope that you get um and I really wish you the best and 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 wish you luck with the Texas Rangers. All right. So there you go. All right, now we can talk about the whole thing with the Tariq Skubal rumors and all that other shit whatsoever. Um we'll talk about that. Um we'll talk about that though, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, we'll talk about that. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Okay. Let's talk about the rumor alerts in the air. I didn't get a chance to. I could have put that in that segment actually, but I do apologize for not putting that in rumor alerts in the air. So, pretty much some rumor alerts in the air in regards to Tariq Skubal and Freddy Peralta. So Tariq Skubal is the hottest name linked to multiple teams. The Detroit Tigers ace is the front runner to win the 2025 MLB Cy Young Award. His understanding season with the Tigers has garnered a lot of attention as teams are ready to pursue the pitcher, even though he's not a free agent. He's no longer a free agent. Scuba will become a free agent after the 2026 season, but teams will not miss any sign of trade talks with the Tigers. The Tigers and Scuba have a sizable gap when it comes to an extension. Tariq Scuba can be the highest paid pitcher in the season, excuse me, in the league, and many teams are ready to make that happen. The Tigers have not been able to settle uh, their negotiation with Scooble. That said, rumors are that they might want to trade the All Star pitcher. However, it's not an easy decision and something they wouldn't want to do. Without Scooble, Detroit would not have made it to the playoffs. Parting ways with one of the best pitchers in the league will put the team in a tough spot next season. New York Mets linked to Tariq Skubal for a blockbuster deal. All right, so the New York Mets are in the market to shake things up once again. The franchise spent a substantial amount last season, but everything went in vain after failing to make the playoffs. Steve Cohen will stop at nothing as he aims to build a stronger roster. Tariq Skubal is one of the targets the Mets are believed to be pursuing. When the price for Skubal is sure, reporter Mike Poomer thinks that a blockbuster deal would be in play involving Carson Bench, Jet Williams, Jonathan, and Brendan Sproat. It's hard to see the Tigers let go of Tariq Skubal, but if they fail to capitalize on a deal, they might take what's best. Detroit has a strong chance of making the playoffs again, but without Skubal, it will be a tough task. For now, Skubal's contract hangs in the air with the Tigers. So there you go. Tariq Skubal is not available. He is off the market. He is off the market, and I want to say something in regards to the prospects being traded and stuff, man. Like seriously. Um, have we not learned our fucking lesson? The New York Mets got a fucking rental. And then now you want to do that for the second. Now you want to do that for the second time. I'm sorry, man, but this is to overpay somebody like a Tarik Skubal, depending on the amount of money that he wants or whatever. I just feel like you're basically trying to throw away the farm. You're trying to throw away a farm for a rental pitcher. And I think you're just trying to put yourself in the you're trying to put yourself in Hell's Kitchen by giving away your future of a Carson Bench who may end up may who may end up playing left field. And then you need a backup second baseman like Jet Williams because in case Marcus Semien gets hurt, you're gonna need him. You're gonna need him. You know what I'm saying? And and on top of that though, man, I like to really say, man, this is like one of the craziest, dumbest things ever. And then and then to hear that you want to give away not only Jonathan and Brandon Sproat, but you also want to give away Nolan McLean. You got to be fucking kidding me, man. You got to be fucking kidding me. I would actually say no fucking dice. Why? Yeah, I would have to say no fucking dice, man. Why go through all that trouble? Why go through all that trouble when you could actually why go through all that trouble when you can actually look into a Freddy Peralta? You know what I'm saying? He may be a lot of money, but that doesn't mean give away the whole off the market as well. He's not available. So the Milwaukee Brewers just had a special season, even if it ended in a sweep by the Los Angeles Dodgers in the NLCS. ESPN's Jeff Passan, MLB's preeminent insider, believes that means they should not, they should add, not subtract. Rumors this offseason have already begun suggesting that Milwaukee could trade away right-handed pitching ace Freddy Peralta. Passan thinks the perfect move for this Brewers winter is to go the opposite direction. Keep Peralta in the trade for another team. His suggestion: Washington Nationals lefty Mackenzie Gore. The are notoriously frugal in the winter, rarely awarding multi-year packs and even more infrequently giving out big dollar deals. Passing writes their budget doesn't allow them to operate in that market, so they need to be creative. The reality is that their perfect transaction would probably be to trade Freddy Peralta, a free agent to be who's likely to be priced out of Milwaukee's range come next off season. But the Brewers, after posting the best record in MLB, should add, not subtract. And with a loaded farm system that's redundant in certain areas, they can dangle prospects and target high end players, particularly with teams whose systems need depth as much as they do top 100 types. Trade for Washington left-hander Mackenzie Gore. Okay, so the Dodgers have an $87 million free agency secret weapon. Gore is a one-time top prospect who is coming off a season with 185 strikeouts. His 5-15 record is misleading because the Nationals were simply not good. The lefty with a high leg kick has great stuff, and he's a logical piece to be traded away by the Nats. the Brewers wouldn't be able to afford a guy like Gore in free agency, but in a trade, they give up prospect capital, not dollars. And that can work out nicely for Milwaukee. Okay. So there you go, right there. Two rumors have been debunked. And I guess the moral of the story when it comes to rumors like this, whether it's posted by Mike Puma and Jeff Passan or whatever, don't believe everything that you read. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, as Top Bunk was talking about in his show, Mets on Top with Randy. Um, he was saying that the one of the particular stories is clickbait. You don't want to fall for clickbait stories that's not even worth talking about as far as like and you know what they call it? They call it a nothing burger. A nothing burger, man. And speaking of a nothing burger, I'm not even gonna get into the whole beef between Jeff McNeil and Francisco Lindor. I'm not gonna get into it right here. Hold on. Also, the moral of the story is that the New York Mets so far ups and downs happened in 2025. All right. I want to actually get to I want to get to wait a minute. I want to get to Frankie Montas's injury. He got DFA'd, and I'm gonna talk about the whole Pete Alonso situation and Edwin Diaz situation. So I'll talk about that next. All right. So let me see. Let's see. Yes. Frankie Montas, who you may know, um, Frankie Montas' first season with the Mets is over, and his likely encore is in jeopardy. The right-hander has been diagnosed with a pretty significant injury to the ulnar collateral ligament in his right elbow, according to manager Carlos Mendoza, and was placed on the injured list Saturday before the Mets beat the Braves 9-2 at Truist Park. Montas has soreness in his lower bicep Friday after warming up in the bullpen a day earlier in Washington, a game in which he didn't pitch. A subsequent MRI exam found the UCL damage. Hmm. Yes, yeah. Let's see. Mendoza indicated that Tommy John surgery is a possibility for Montas. The Mets signed Montas to a 2-year contract worth $34 million last winter that includes an opt-out. But following a disappointing season in which he was demoted on the bullpen, Montas is sure to opt out in for next season. Let me see. Huasca Brazaban was recalled from AAA Syracuse to take Montas' roster spot. Montas, age 32, pitched this season to a 6.28 ERA in 9 appearances, 2 of them in relief. Montas is opened the season on the IL after he was diagnosed with a high-grade lat strain in spring training. He didn't pitch his first game for the Mets until June 24th, excuse me. He was pretty devastated Friday when he found out, and rightfully so. Mendoza said it's been a hard year for him since spring training when he went down. He put in a lot of time rehabbing, came back and didn't have the results. Brazaban has spent much of the season with the Mets, but was optioned to AAA Syracuse last month. The right-hander entering play had pitched to a 3.83 ERA in 44 appearances for the club this season. And Brazaban will provide a length option from the bullpen, according to Mendoza. Tom McGill threw 65 pitches in a rehab start for Syracuse that took place on Friday. I think this was during the summer, actually. And Mendoza indicated next step hasn't been determined for the right-hander. McGill has been on the injured list since June, rehabbing from right elbow swelling. When asked if McGill would pitch again in the minors, Mendoza noted the Mets are in a stretch of 16 straight days with a game scheduled. The fact he is up to 65 pitches is a good sign, Mendoza said. Mendoza indicated that the Mets will evaluate the potential need for a sixth starter after another turn through the rotation, which includes rookie Nolan Lightning McLean, starting Wednesday against the Phillies. David Peterson, Kodai Senga, and Sean Manai are aligned ahead of McLean. Anyway, let's go to the situation. Let's go to the situation between Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz. So let's talk Pete Alonso first, actually. Yeah, let's get into that right here. All right, so so this former New York Mets legend is already making the case for the team to re-sign Pete Alonso. During their daily episode of the show, hosted by John Heyman and Joel Sherman of the New York Post, former Met and team captain Keith Hernandez made a plea to the Mets to keep Alonso in Flushing for life, with the slugger slated to become a free agent this offseason. I'll talk about Keith Hernandez after the Edwin Diaz thing afterwards. Let's see. Let's see. Um, he said in quote, "You are not going to replace his bat," Hernandez said. "To me, he's the second coming of Harmon Killebrew." Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Hold up. That's funny, man. Plus the fact that he's a right-handed bat. You you take Pete out of that lineup. Where are you going to find a replacement? Where are you going to find 125 RBIs? Keith Hernandez thinks the Mets have to re-sign Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz this season. He joined Joe Sherman, and John Heyman today on the show. That's the name of their podcast, so you can listen on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and other streaming platforms. Alonso has been with the Amazons throughout his first 7 seasons of his major league career. Shortly after New York's season ended on September 28th, he announced his intention to opt out of the 2-year, $54 million deal he signed last winter after the two sides were in long-standing negotiations last offseason until Alonso agreed on that aforementioned 2-year deal. The 30-year-old's future with the Mets will once again be uncertain. The Polar Bears coming off a great 2025 season with the Mets. Alonso appeared in every regular season game, slashing 272, 347, 524 with 38 home runs, 126 RBIs, second in MLB behind Kyle Schwarber, and an OPS of 871. Here's Alonso's walk-off homer. Boy, did the Mets need that. Alonso's 2025 season was also a historic one for him. On August 12th, the slugger surpassed Darryl Strawberry for the most home runs in franchise history when he blasted his 253rd career home run against the Atlanta Braves. He now has 264 career home runs. The season was a stark contrast from what Alonso produced a season ago when he batted just 240, 329, 459 with 34 homers, 88 RBIs, and a career worst 788 OPS. Alonso's disappointing 2024 season resulted in him settling on that short-term contract with the Mets, as not many other suitors across the league showed much interest in the slugging first baseman. After stringing together a bounce-back season offensively, Alonso is now expected to receive a much larger contract once the offseason gets underway. Since making his major league debut in 2019, Alonso has cemented himself as not only the most prolific power hitter in Mets franchise history, but as one of the most consistent home run threats in all of baseball. Aside from the COVID-shortened 2020 season, Alonso has slugged 30 or more homers in every season. He has also matched 40 or more long balls in 4 of his 7 seasons, including his historic rookie season in 2019, when he surpassed Aaron Judge for the most home runs in a rookie season with 53. Over the course of his career, Alonso's 264 home runs are the third most in all baseball behind only Kyle Schwarber, 264, and Judge, 285. It is undoubtedly going to be an interesting offseason for the Mets, who are expected to make many moves after falling well short of their expectations this year. But while there are many needs the Mets have to address, Hernandez speaks for the Mets fans in that re-signing the homegrown first baseman long term is for the best. All right, before I go on to Edwin Diaz's situation, I want to actually say something actually in regards to Pete. Listen, man, I'm not one of those New York Mets fans who's going to basically say that Pete Alonso is going to walk. I'm not going to say that. I would never say that because of the fact that, he is the most important piece as a right-handed bat. You don't want to have a lineup that has fucking left-handed batters. You don't want that. And the reason I say that is because, despite the fact that he had and he had some issues as far as his throwing range was off, but at the end of the day, man, at the end of the day, for those who wanted him out and stuff, to me tells me you're not really real Mets fans after all. And I say that, and I'm not saying every Mets fan. I'm saying some of you Mets fans out there. It's like, where are you going to find? Where are you? As Keith Hernandez was saying, where are you going to find another slugger that's going to get you? That's going to get you not over 88 RBIs and over actually over 100 RBIs and and of course the 42 doubles and much more. Man, this is crazy, man. But look, man, I really hope that I really hope that Pete and Edwin get whatever amount of money they deserved. Let me just also say this in regards to the damn years and stuff. Listen, let me tell you something, man. You talk about how you want to actually win, right? At the same token, you do need these important pieces. You cannot let these two walk, because at the same time, it's like, at the same time, if you do, you're going to fucking regret it. And I get that this is a results business, and I get the fact that you're trying to do your best to actually win games and stuff in a championship. I get that, though. But at the same time, it's like, without those important pieces like Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz, it's like, where are you going to find another closer? Because you're not going to be able to find a better closer than Edwin Diaz. That's not going to happen. And even if you found another closer, that particular pitcher is no Edwin Diaz. The same way, even if you find another fucking slugger who will hit home runs and stuff, but he's no Pete Alonso, man. He's no Pete Alonso. So let's be real, man. Let's be real. Yeah. So let's get to all right, so the New York Mets put together the most disappointing season in MLB this season, missing the playoffs in Juan Soto's first year in Queens. Now Steve Cohen's squad heads into an important offseason with two key players hitting free agency. Both Mets closer Edwin Diaz and first baseman Pete Alonso have opted out of their contracts hitting free agency. First, it was Diaz. Edwin Diaz has opted out of his deal with the Mets. Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic reported, and you can also see him in Fair Territory podcast. Then Alonso follows suit. Pete Alonso has opted out, per New York Post insider John Heyman. Neither move is particularly surprising, especially Alonso after a contentious free agency in 2024. He re-signed with the Mets on an option-heavy contract. He hit behind Soto this year, knocking in 126 runs, a career high. The first baseman now hits free agency after setting the Mets record for career home runs. Alonso told the media after the final game that he would be opting out. Edwin Diaz revived his career with the Mets after two disastrous seasons to start his run in Queens. Since 2021, he has 112 saves in 4 seasons. He will be 32 years old. on opening day. So this could be his last big contract in the big leagues. The Mets could bring him back, especially after the Ryan Helsley experiment failed after the trade deadline, and which, by the way, Ryan Helsley is now a Baltimore Oriole now, so we don't have to worry about him too much. The Mets are set to be big spenders once again in the offseason. After the historic Soto contract, they need to improve their starting pitching and now have two massive holes to fill. The Mets want to keep Diaz, according to Heyman, but that does not mean they will be the highest bidder. The Mets have the richest owner, but they also have an incredibly expensive roster for 2026 already. Will Cohen just keep spending, or will the Soto contract handcuff them? Yeah, so there you have it right there, man. There you have it. Um, yeah, there was another rumor in regards to Edwin Diaz and the Blue Jays. Actually saw this. I actually saw this somewhere. Actually, hold on. Let me just see. I actually saw this somewhere. Let me see if I can find out. Yeah, here's the rumor in regards to that. This is from Clutch Points. Um, Another rumor involving Edwin Diaz is that the Toronto Blue Jays and New York Mets had opposite 2025 seasons with little expectations. Toronto w- was 90 feet away from winning the World Series. Meanwhile, with championship aspirations, the Amazings missed the postseason in the National League. The Athletics, Ken Rosenthal the Mets warns the Mets of losing their closer Edwin Diaz to the Blue Jays during free agency. The Blue Jays, according to people briefed on their activity, met with Diaz's agents with Wasserman at the general manager's meetings. That's not necessarily a major development. This early in the offseason, teams expressed interest in pretty much every quality player, Rosenthal reported. He continued. Toronto, though, is targeting high leverage relief as well as starting pitching, and it's signaling a willingness to both spend big and lose draft picks if necessary. The Jays are open to sliding Hoffman to the eighth inning, and Hoffman also certainly would accept such a move if the team acquired a more accomplished closer. The Blue Jays signed Hoffman to a lucrative contract, but it did not work out perfectly. He allowed the most homers of any reliever in the league during the regular season and allowed the game tying homer to Miguel Rojas in game 7. The Blue Jays could use a big name to slam the door next season. The Mets traded for Diaz and stuck with him through tough years. They were rewarded with one of the top closers in the league. While the relationship between the two could be over, it was a successful run for the closer in Queens. If he does leave, Steve Cohen will likely spend big to land a new closer. The Mets gave out the biggest contract in North American sports history last winter. Diaz won't ask for that, so they can likely afford it. But does their clubhouse need a shakeup after a dreadful season? Well, I can say this in my opinion though. Actually, you're not going to find a better closer than Edwin Diaz because of the fact that he has he has a family, and it's an important and he's the important piece of the puzzle. him and him and Pete Alonso, they both got families of kids. So To have him walk would be a dreadful, dreadful fucking idea. To just let them walk for a fucking dumb reason, and it's just beyond baffling to me to hear. So I think we have to let the process of the off season play out, and of course, let them cook in the hot kitchen. That's pretty much what I wanted to say on there as well. Now we're going to talk about hold on. I'm sorry about that. Hold up. All right, let me go to the Mets legend Keith Hernandez. He basically did an interview in regards to that. Actually, let me see this. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Actually, this is from New 365 dot Azon Tree. Okay, so let's see what we got here and what he's talking about here. Hang on 1 second. All right, so in the high stakes world of Major League Baseball, where every decision can shape a team's destiny, a single sentence can ignite debates and redefine strategies. Keith Hernandez, the legendary New York Mets icon and Hall of Famer, recently broke his silence with a powerful 10-word statement. Powerful 10-word statement. Hang on a second. That hold on. Okay. All right. So Keith Hernandez, the legendary New York Mets icon and Hall of Famer, recently broke his silence with a powerful 10-word statement that reverberated through the Mets locker room. In quote, he said, "Don't be foolish enough to let Pete Alonso go." The bold declaration underscores the immense value of Pete Alonso, the Mets star first baseman, and highlights the potential folly of trading or releasing such a pivotal player. As fans and analysts dissect Hernandez's words, it's clear that Pete Alonso represents not just a player, but a cornerstone of the Mets' future success. In this article, we'll explore the context behind Hernandez's outburst, delve into Pete Alonso's remarkable career, and analyze why holding on to him could be the smartest move for the New York Mets. The context of Keith Hernandez's outburst. Keith Hernandez, a former Mets great known for his tenure with the team in the 1980s, um, has always been vocal about baseball matters. His recent comment came amid swirling rumors about the Mets' roster decisions, particularly regarding Pete Alonso. Hernandez, who won a World Series with the Mets in 1986 and earned MVP honors, understands the intricacies of building a winning team. His 10-word sentence, "Don't be foolish enough to let Pete Alonso go," wasn't just idle chatter. It was a pointed critique of any potential trade talks involving the slugger. The Mets have been navigating a challenging season with injuries and inconsistent performances, testing the team's resolve. Pete Alonso, with his um, prodigious power and clutch hitting, has been a beacon of hope. Hernandez's declaration serves as a reminder that letting go of a player like Pete Alonso could be a grave mistake, echoing the regrets of past decisions where teams traded away future stars. This statement has sparked conversations across MLB circles, emphasizing the importance of player retention in an era where free agency and trades dominate headlines. Pete Alonso's rise to stardom. To fully appreciate Hernandez's warning, one must examine Pete Alonso's journey in baseball. Drafted by the Mets in the second round of the 2016 MLB draft, Pete Alonso quickly made his mark in the minor leagues with his raw power and disciplined approach at the plate. His debut with the Mets in 2019 was nothing short of spectacular as he smashed 53 home runs in his rookie season, shattering the rookie record previously held by Mark McGwire. This feat earned him the National League Rookie of the Year award and solidified his status as a home run king. Pete Alonso's offensive prowess extends beyond just power. He boosts a career batting average of over 250 with an on base percentage that showcases his ability to get on base consistently. His slugging percentage, often exceeding 500, highlights his capacity to drive in runs and change games. In 2021, despite a challenging season for the Mets, Pete Alonso hit 37 home runs and drove in 94 runs, proving his resilience. These statistics aren't just numbers, they represent a player who elevates the entire lineup, making him indispensable for any team aiming for playoff contention. Beyond the stats, Pete Alonso's presence in the clubhouse is invaluable. Known for his work ethic and positive attitude, he inspires younger players and fosters team chemistry. Hernandez, drawing from his own experiences, likely sees parallels between Pete Alonso and the other Mets legends who were retained and led the team to glory. Letting Pete Alonso go would mean sacrificing not only his on field contributions, but also the intangible leadership he provides. Why Pete Alonso is crucial for the New York Mets, you ask? The New York Mets have long been a franchise defined by high expectations and storied history. From the Miracle Mets of 1969 to the dominant teams of the 1980s, the organization has always sought players who can deliver in big moments. Pete Alonso fits this mold perfectly, embodying the power hitting tradition that fans crave. Hernandez's 10-word sentence emphasizes the foolishness of trading away such talent, especially when the Mets are rebuilding towards contention. One key reason to hold on to Pete Alonso is his role in the team's long-term strategy. The Mets have invested heavily in young talent, and Pete Alonso, at just 29 years old, well, he's now 30 right now. He's now 30. Well, yeah, he's now 30. So he's about to be 31. Um, in his prime, yeah. His contract signed in 2020 for 7 years and $117 million reflects the team's commitment, but rumors of trades persist due to financial constraints or strategic shifts. Hernandez's warning suggests that any move to part ways with Pete Alonso could backfire, as it might weaken the Mets' core and prolong their playoff drought. Moreover, Pete Alonso's defensive skills add another layer of value. While primarily known for his bat, he has improved significantly at first base, turning routine plays and showcasing athleticism that belies his power hitter physique. This versatility makes him a complete player, capable of contributing in multiple facets of the game. In an MLB landscape where well rounded athletes are prized, Pete Alonso stands out as a rare commodity. Hernandez's declaration also touches on the emotional aspect of fandom. The Mets faithful have embraced Pete Alonso as a symbol of resurgence. His home runs at Citi Field have electrified crowds, reminiscent of the excitement generated by past stars like Mike Piazza, or Yogi Berra. Trading Pete Alonso could demoralize fans and signal a retreat from the aggressive style that defines the Mets' identity. Hernandez, with his deep connection to the franchise, understands that retaining key players like Pete Alonso is essential for maintaining momentum and building a sustainable winner. Analyzing Keith Hernandez's perspective. Keith Hernandez's opinion carries weight because of his insider knowledge and success with the Mets. As a player who helped the team win the World Series, he knows the pitfalls of roster mismanagement. His 10-word sentence, "Don't be foolish enough to let Pete Alonso go," is a call to action, urging the Mets front office to prioritize long-term vision over short-term gains. Hernandez has been critical of trades that weaken teams in the past, and his stance on Pete Alonso aligns with this philosophy. He likely views Pete Alonso as a franchise player, similar to how he was perceived during his playing days. By keeping Pete Alonso, the Mets can anchor their lineup around his power, potentially attracting other free agents and trades that complement his strengths. Furthermore, Hernandez's comment highlights the broader implications for MLB. In a sport where analytics and scouting reports drive decisions, the human element, player intangibles, and fan impact remains crucial. Pete Alonso's ability to perform under pressure, as seen in his playoff appearances, makes him a reliable asset. Hernandez's warning serves as a reminder that baseball isn't just about numbers, it's about the stories and legacies that players create. The potential consequences of letting Pete Alonso go. Imagining a Mets team without Pete Alonso paints a bleak picture. His absence would create a void in the lineup, forcing the team to rely on unproven prospects or costly acquisitions. Historically, teams that traded away young stars like Pete Alonso have regretted it, as seen with cases where players blossomed everywhere. For instance, the Mets themselves have experienced the pain of losing talent, and Hernandez's declaration aims to prevent a repeat. Financially, while Pete Alonso's contract is significant, his production justifies the investment. In an era of escalating salaries, retaining a proven performer like him could stabilize the payroll and attract revenue through increased ticket sales and merchandise. Letting him go might save money short term, but could lead to prolonged mediocrity, costing the franchise more in lost opportunities. On the field, Pete Alonso's departure would impact team dynamics. His presence boosts morale and provides a model for younger hitters. Without him, the Mets might struggle to generate runs, especially in a national league where power is paramount. Hernandez's 10-word sentence underscores this risk, warning against decisions that could derail the team's progress. Looking ahead, Pete Alonso's role in the Mets' future. As the Mets eye the horizon, Pete Alonso remains a key figure in their blueprint for success. With upcoming seasons promising more competitive play, his continued presence could be the difference between contention and irrelevance. Hernandez's outburst encourages a forward-thinking approach, emphasizing that holding on to stars like Pete Alonso fosters stability and growth. In the grand scheme of MLB, players like Pete Alonso redefine what it means to be a modern slugger. His professionalism sets a standard for aspiring athletes. By heeding Hernandez's advice, the Mets can build around Pete Alonso, creating a foundation for sustained excellence. Ultimately, Keith Hernandez's 10-word declaration, "Don't be foolish enough to let Pete Alonso go," is a rallying cry for Mets fans and decision makers alike. It encapsulates the essence of smart baseball management, recognizing and retaining talent that drives wins and inspires generations. As the season unfolds, the Mets have a choice to make, one that could define their legacy. With Pete Alonso at the helm, the possibilities are endless, proving that sometimes the boldest moves are the ones that keep the dream alive. In conclusion, Pete Alonso is more than a player. He's a symbol of the Mets' potential. Keith Hernandez's warning serves as a timeless lesson in baseball wisdom, reminding us that true foolishness lies in letting go of greatness. As fans, we can only hope the Mets listen, ensuring that Pete Alonso remains a cornerstone of their storied franchise for years to come. This decision could very well determine whether the Mets rise to new heights or fade into obscurity, making Hernandez's words a pivotal moment in team history. Um, yeah, let me look at the quote that he said. So Keith Hernandez doesn't speak. So 10-word um don't Mets locker. Let him he said I like what he said actually. Letting Pete Alonso walk isn't a decision, it's a betrayal of an empire. This isn't advice, it's a warning wrapped in legend. The echo of a champion saying some pillars are too sacred, actually too scared to negotiate based on his age and the years. Come on, man. You're using age as an excuse? Are you serious? You gotta be fucking kidding me. And as his words slice through the baseball world, one truth shakes the league. Keeping Alonso isn't a business anymore. It's the heartbeat of Queens itself. I like this, man. I really like this. I like his quote right there, man. And I have to really agree. I have to agree with this, man, because some of the Mets fans are quick to just dismiss the guy, despite the contributions that he did for this team. You know what I'm saying? So I actually agree with Keith Hernandez on this. Hmm. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, it would be big betrayal actually. So so there you go right there, man. And let me see, let me see, let me see, let me see. Oh yeah, Kodai Senga is not reliable. Let's talk about that too. Let's talk about that. All right, another tumultuous season for Kodai Senga came to an unsatisfactory end, and Mets president of baseball operations David Stearns made it clear he can't rely on the veteran right-hander for much in 2026. Senga finished New York's postseason less 2025 season in the minor leagues after struggling so much upon his return from a from a hamstring injury suffered in June that he agreed to be demoted to work on his mechanics. The 32-year-old began the year looking like the ace the Mets expected him to be, posting a 1.39 ERA across his first 14 starts. In his final outing, in his final 9 outings of the season, his ERA swelled to 5.90. It was the second straight season that Senga was undone by injuries. In 2024, he appeared in only 5 regular seasons frames after dealing with shoulder and calf issues and was ineffective in a couple of postseason outings. Um, in quote, Kodai Senga has had 2 inconsistent and challenging years in a row, Stern said. We know it's in there. We know there's potential. We're going to do everything we can to help get it out of him. But could we put him in ink as making 30 starts next year? That would be foolish. When Senga is healthy and clicking, he is one of the best pitchers in baseball, thanks to his ghost fork ball, one of the game's most devastating pitches, but his mechanics were simply out of whack during the second half of the season, and not even the lesser pressure of the minor leagues could help him out, could help him figure it out. Excuse me. His first start provided enough hope that he could figure it out in a flash, allowing 1 run on 3 hits with 8 strikeouts and 0 walks in 6 innings with AAA Syracuse. But he regressed his next time out, allowing 4 runs on 6 hits in 3.2 innings of work. Multiple bullpen sessions didn't help either, as Mets manager Carlos Mendoza admitted last week that things were just not clicking. Now Senga faces an offseason in which he admittedly has to begin from square one, as that hamstring injury that ultimately turned the Mets season upside down had a more serious impact than first realized. I wasn't able to control my body the way I wanted to after that injury, Senga said. Unfortunately, that showed up in the results on field too. I want to rebuild from step one. My body has changed after this injury and after various things. Yeah, I did hear some talk about how Kodai Senga is going to get traded, but that's probably going to be a wait and see type of shit. So anyway, so let's go to the pitchers that got back into the 1 year deal thing. So the New York Mets announced another move on Tuesday. Has re signed left handed pitcher Brandon Waddell to a 1-year major league deal. The 31-year-old started one game for the Mets as an opener, but was used as a long reliever for the most part at the big league level. Waddell started 15 games for AAA Syracuse and produced a 5.02 ERA in 19 appearances overall. In 78 total minor league innings, the Southpaw posted a 3.9 record and 4.85 ERA. Waddell was one of the Mets' better arms who were shuffled back and forth from the minors to the majors on numerous occasions last season. However, the lefty is now out of minor league options, so he would have to clear waivers before heading to the minors if he does not make the opening day roster. Waddell will likely be competing for the Mets' long relief role in their bullpen during spring training. And as previously mentioned, he was a valuable hurler at times a season ago. In addition to Waddell, the Mets exercised left-hander Brooks Raley's $4.75 million club option on Tuesday and declined Drew Smith's $2 million club option. Let's see. The team also acquired righty reliever Joey Gerber from the Tampa Bay Rays in exchange for cash considerations. These bullpen moves came one day after closer Edwin Diaz opted out of the remaining 2 years and $38 million left on his contract. Rehabbing left-hander AJ Minter exercised his $11 million player option, so he opted in on Monday as well. The Mets have plenty of heavy lifting to do this offseason when it comes to constructing their bullpen. So there you go right there, man. And I already talked about Frankie Montas's demotion and how he got DFA'd, so you don't have to worry about this guy anymore. All right. Let's see. Yeah, even Carlos Beltran is actually rooting for the return of Pete Alonso, if I'm not mistaken. He's rooting for him to return, and also Carlos Mendoza actually is returning. He is back. Carlos Mendoza says he wants to be better in his second year as manager. Yeah, was his second year. So this was his second year. So let me see what else. So there you go, right there. Want to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Actually. Lefty relief. Let me see. All right. Whatever topics I don't get to, I'll talk about it in a future following episode. So, because of the fact that the New York Mets had an up and down season, so the New York Mets so far ups and downs. I will say this though, man, the New York Mets never gave up without a fight, though, man, in some of the games that they played, which makes them very resilient and full of confidence, regardless of the deadly plague of injuries. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I was saying about the Keith Hernandez comment is that, yeah, there has been no loyalty and, of course, no leadership and stuff. But how many veteran leaders in baseball do you need to motivate this organization? And I think it's too much veterans, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? I get that they have experiences going to the playoffs and whatnot, but at the same token, at the same token, I mean, at the same token, it's just going to be it's going to be overwhelming for this team to be able to catch up with the high expectations and stuff. The thing with high expectations when it comes to baseball athletes and stuff, it's the mental side of things. You got to remember, folks, that baseball is a mental thing. You know what I'm saying? So so yeah, there you go right there. There you go right there. So yeah, so yeah, right there. One thing I'll say about Carlos Mendoza, he's not a raw. When he started his first, when he got signed as manager, he's told the press that he's not a rah guy. He's not a rah guy as far as anything goes, though. So it's it's pretty much the reason why you don't really you don't really see you don't really see him um you don't really see him be you know upset about anything else. So yeah, there you go right there, man. So this is a wait and see of the off season of the New York Mets, and I really hope that um Pete Alonso basically makes his return back to the New York Mets alongside with Edwin Diaz, because without these key important ingredient pieces, you will regret it. It doesn't matter how much money you fucking save. It's it's the loyalty. It's the loyalty of these players. These players have families, and for the simple fact that you want to, you know, let them walk. It's just it would be the most dreadful shit ever. All right. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it right there, and I'm going to wrap up right here. I'm gonna wrap up episode. Actually, better yet, I want to give you the rundown. Let me give you the rundown of the. Let me give you the rundown of the New York Knicks schedule. So let me just do that right there. And all right, so the New York Knicks versus Boston Celtics. They play on Tuesday and it airs on NBC. Charlotte Hornets versus New York Knicks on Wednesday, December 3rd. Um, so Tuesday at 8 p.m., Wednesday 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on MSG. Utah Jazz versus New York Knicks will take place Friday, December 5th at 7:30 Eastern Time on MSG. Orlando Magic versus New York Orlando Magic versus New York Knicks Sunday, Eastern Time on MSG. All right. Yes, Orlando Magic versus New York Knicks Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time on MSG. New York Knicks versus Indiana Pacers is going to be December 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on MSG. And December 19th, Philadelphia Sixers versus New York Knicks, Friday, December 19th, 7 p.m. on Amazon Prime Video. All right. All right. So that's I'm gonna actually leave it right there for the next episode. So the rest of the next schedule, I will actually gladly go over everything. Now I'm gonna go over the New York Giants schedule. I want to actually go over it. So this is going to be okay. So in case you didn't know, the New York Giants versus the New England Patriots is happening on Monday, December 1st at 8:15 p.m. I believe it's going to be on my 9 at 8 p.m. And I think it's going to be on ESPN and NFL Plus. I'm not sure about oh boy. Hold on, December 7th. Hold on, what's going on December 7th? Let me see what's going on December 7th. Okay, New York Giants schedule 2025. Okay. Let's see. What channel are they going to be on? I have to see. Okay, I got to see. Yeah, but where is it going to be? Okay. Where is it going to be airing, though? That's the thing. The hell? I don't know what BYE is, so I have no idea what that is. I have no idea what BYE is, so not so sure. But okay, TV, yes. So let's get to. All right. Um, let me see. Oh, this is a bye week. Oh, okay. Bye week. Okay, the 14th of December is a bye week. Okay. Wait, December 7th. I don't see it. I don't see it there, but I don't see that there. But yeah, so I get it. I get it though. Yeah, ESP. Yeah, so Monday, of course, ESPN, and it's going to air on my 9 at 8:15 p.m. So check your local listings. All right, so Washington Nationals versus New York Giants on December 14th, 1 p.m. on Fox 5, Fox 1, and NFL Plus. Minnesota Vikings versus New York Giants, December 21st, 1 p.m. on Fox 5, Fox 1, and NFL Plus. And of course, New York Giants versus Las Vegas Raiders, Saturday, December 27th at 4:30 p.m. on the NFL Network. Um, 8 p.m. on Peacock. Wow. Wow. Let's see. Dallas Cowboys versus New York Giants, Sunday, January 4th, the day of my birthday, or Saturday, January 3rd on ABC, ESPN, Fox 5, Fox 1, CBS 2, or ESPN Unlimited. Remains to be seen. All right. So there you go. All right. let's get into. All right, folks. Make sure you follow the sports platform Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast on Facebook alongside with Blue Sky Social, Threads, and Instagram. Same goes for my other podcast shows that's on the same social media platform. And you can also follow your host with the most, G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York. Also you can also let me see if I can find that. Let me see if I can find that thing. Hold on a second. Let me see. So yes, if you go to the link in bio, you're gonna see Linktree / Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks Pod. And what you're gonna see is a bunch of streaming platform podcast links. All right. This includes Audible, Odyssey, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. Be sure to leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and a review. It helps the channel out. So creators and podcast hosts like myself can keep going to create more content, more sports topics, whether it's baseball, whether it's football news, whether it's basketball news, whatever sport it is, whatsoever. All right. So Castbox FM, Deezer, Listen Notes, Moon FM podcast, Overall FM podcast, Player FM, Pandora, Pocket Cast, Podo Polo, Podorama, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Pod Chaser, Podverse, Podcast Guru, Podcatcher, Podcast Republic, Snipped. Um, you can add the podcast to your Spotify playlist. And of course, spread the word out to your friends and everybody else that's also into sports, content creations, and of course, sports podcaster like myself and other sports content creators and stuff on YouTube. And of course, you can also listen on Spotify for creators, along with along with TuneIn Radio. Yes, TuneIn Radio. You have Fountain, you have Good Pods, iHeartRadio, the number one app where you can listen to your favorite music artists, which includes your favorite rappers, your favorite singers in R&B and other music genres, your favorite radio stations on the AM and FM stations, and also you can listen to the podcast episodes for free. You don't need a credit card or debit card to download iHeartRadio. All you need to do is subscribe and follow on iHeartRadio. Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast, my sports platform show. Um, and also the other streaming platforms that I just mentioned. You can also make sure you click on the subscribe button and alongside with the notification bell so you be able to get notified on when I'll be on the air live. And of course, very important that you enable alerts so you'll be able to know um, when each episode recording is going to be uploaded to the YouTube channel pages. Leave a like and a comment alongside with the sports topics. Tell me how you feel about the Brendan Nimmo trade and Marcus Semien. Of course, based on the age, Brendan Nimmo is 32, Marcus Semien is 5. And of course, with the whole situation with Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz, and along with the comments of what Keith Hernandez was saying in the show by John Heyman and the other guy from their podcast. Also, let me know in the comments how you feel about the new coach for the New York Giants, Mike Kafka, and of course, like I said, there will be a Monday Night Football game. The New York Giants and the New England Patriots on My 9. All right. It's gonna be aired on My 9 as far as like ESPN. My 9 is confirmed actually. I actually saw it on TV. Anyway, share the podcast with your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, girlfriends, people you're cool with from work. And of course, spread the word. Word of mouth is important to me, and I would really appreciate if you just share the videos. And of course, there will be more video episode podcast live streams, and there will be more new episodes that will be released on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. All right. So there you go, right there. I'm about to wrap up right here. Man. And that's gonna do it. I'm your man G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator. Rhymes with now or later. And I'd like to say thank you to every single one of you who took the time to listen to the episodes. And remember, the grind doesn't stop. Hard work pays off. If you want something, you have to work hard and earn it. It's not going to be given to you on a fucking silver platter in a privileged way. If you plan on starting a podcast, be sure to be yourself behind the microphone and be on your P's and Q's creatively, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, that get you into your zone alongside with tunnel vision. And I like to also add, tune in next time where I talk about Josh Naylor being off the table. He went back to the Seattle Mariners. And alongside with more sports topics in the next episode, and alongside with the upcoming future episodes whatsoever. So I got y'all with that. And I like to say thank you to every single one of you who actually took the time to actually be on this podcast journey with me for 4 years straight. The same goes for my other podcast show, Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast. Don't forget to also subscribe to the other YouTube channel pages, Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast, and of course, my primary number one YouTube channel that has Off the Meat Rack Chains New York Avenue podcast episodes on there. G Money Stacks 555 on there. So yeah, there you go right there, folks. Take care of yourselves. I'll see y'all on the flip side. And I really appreciate every single one of y'all for listening. And I will be back with more new episodes. All right. Be careful. Be safe out there. Love. Good night, everybody.